and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Star Chronicles Dallas Cowboy podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hill. We're back talking about the thing that we love most in the world, the Dallas Cowboys. We got our co-host back, Ron, aka the Starstruck fan, straight from Germany.
Alrighty.
Welcome back. How have you been?
All is well, all is well, all is well. Didn't get to catch the draft live, but I'm back and I believe I'm caught up.
Okay, so you're caught up, and what is your overall thoughts of being all in the Dallas Cowboys 2024 draft?
Very good draft. Not great by but that's just my perspective, and I know my perspective can be a hill of beans. Uh, I figured if we drafted a running back, I would have given it a solid A. We didn't get we didn't get to draft that running back, so I'm giving it about a B.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, I'm giving it a B. I think a running back would have really topped it off if we had gotten at least any of the top four candidates or so that was out there, but we didn't get anybody. It remains to be seen what we did get, what we picked up. Outside of that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was I wasn't even targeting any of the top four, really. I was looking more like the Dylan Johnsons of the world and stuff like that, kind of be hanging around at the end. Because
Yeah.
I thought they had upside, I thought they had size, and I thought they were downhill runners. And that's what the things that the Cowboy organization was claiming that they were looking for. And I thought when two of them were still available, in the seventh round, that we would probably pick one of them. But then,
Yeah.
that didn't happen. I'm like, well, this is the Cowboys trying to be too damn cute again. And they're going to wait to try and do an undrafted free agent type of deal, which they didn't pick up any of them then still.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on just, I'm not giving the draft a B. Me probably is like a
Yeah.
C plus, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And granted, because, they did address needs and stuff, but,
Yeah.
it's still something addressing needs and people that can actually perform needs is two different things. That's something we're not going to find out until preseason happens.
Yeah.
So at what point did you think that, man, they're really not going to try and draft a running back?
What point was it when I felt that they was not going to draft a running back? I think when we went with the second, third round pick, and we picked up the linebacker, because I just for sure thought if we're going to get a running back, we're going to get him with that's I figured that's why we traded back so we could get a second opportunity. Whoever we grabbed initially, I didn't think it was going to be with that first third round pick, in which we grabbed Cooper BB, which was a great move.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Um, and well, I'll say good move because we'll see what he turns out to be. Hopefully, based upon how things look, but it's on paper. It could turn out to be a great move.
Yeah, he might be the most equipped to be the most effective at this
Yeah,
particular
yeah,
moment.
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that with a soft, great word. But it was definitely with that second, third pick that we picked up by moving back that I thought, okay, we're gonna get a running back here. And when we didn't, um, I started sensing that, once we got into the fifth and I started seeing guys coming off the board, I was like, well, is there really going to be anybody that we really want
Mm-hmm.
at this late stage of the round? And then we decided to go grab the cornerback in the fifth. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
We grabbed the cornerback in the fifth. I'm like, okay, that leaves the sixth and a
Yeah.
couple in the seventh. And at that point, I'm like, anybody you get past the fifth round at this point, are they really going to come in and overtake the guys we already have?
Well, see,
That's what I started thinking.
I was kind of at the sixth. The
Yeah.
fifth. The corner still didn't make no sense to me. And people making an argument, oh, that's for Gilmore. Well, we got a healthy Diggs coming back, so
Yeah.
that argument there doesn't make any sense. You got
Yeah.
Bland and Diggs and stuff, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that whole argument just ridiculous. But
Yeah.
it's just I could not figure out. I just kept on going. Kept on going. I'm like, well, they have to do something at this part. But then when they got to receiver, I think that was a sixth round pick, right? No, that was a seventh round pick,
Yeah.
the first seventh round
Yeah.
pick. when they were
Yeah.
at receiver, I'm like, man, they're not going to pick a running back
Yeah.
because I
For
thought
me,
for
I think
sure they could have
third
did
was
two.
shaky.
Uh huh.
Third was shaky. Fifth, when we got the cornerback, like I said, I felt to me it really didn't make sense to waste a draft pick on a running back once we got past fifth. Because I said, whoever you pick, it is very unlikely that guy is coming in to overtake the guys that are currently on the roster. Now, not that's not to say I know we picked up the Pete guy or whatever
Yeah.
undrafted, but I'm just saying he's it's very tough. Not that it can't happen because we've heard, we do some research and find out some stories with some undrafted running backs that came in and did what they need to do. But
Yeah.
I felt once they got past third, it was touchy, and then once we got past the fifth, it was like it wouldn't make sense to draft a running back at this point because I'm like, you're drafting a guy that essentially is going to come in and I don't know the chances of him starting right away. I just
Mhm.
didn't see it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the draft wasn't horrible. I mean, I wasn't expecting the draft to be sexy and stuff because I knew that wasn't going to happen either. But at the same time, they kind of put themselves in this position where they had the draft by need. I mean, like in the
Yeah,
definition, they really did do that. I would
yeah,
have did some things differently at the end, but
yeah,
it's not my team. But
yeah.
during the whole weekend when this was going on, several people on Facebook and on Instagram and everywhere else was posting "Welcome back, Zeke." Post all over the place. Which
Yeah,
it ended up being official till what was it? This Monday or beginning
yeah.
of the week
Monday
here?
morning,
Yeah,
they
Monday
they
morning.
waited till the dust settled after the draft, and very early Monday morning, I think it was 6 a.m. It hit my phone.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah, I mean, and there's people who's excited, and
Yeah,
and I mean, I understand that. Everybody likes Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, I
yeah,
like him. I like him as a person. I
yeah,
think he has like energy and all that type of stuff. But still,
yeah.
at the same time, it's difficult for me to get excited for somebody that didn't do that much the last season he was with us, and then seeing what he did with the Patriots last year. So
Yeah.
how am I supposed to be excited? A
Well,
rational football
yeah,
fan, and I
I
want you to
guess.
explain to me how.
Well, I can go ahead and say one thing.
Hmm.
Don't look at how he looked with the Patriots and try to mold him to what he could potentially be with the Cowboys. Because we saw what he was with the Cowboys before he went to the Patriots with 12 touchdowns. He didn't get close to that with the Patriots. So, first thing we got to draw a line in the sand and just separate, just forget the Patriots was just a whole totally different situation. I mean, you didn't have what there was just the motivation was just not there. I mean, I know you don't want to ever hear that from a particular player when they go somewhere, but I think of when Randy Moss went to the Oakland to the Raiders. I don't remember if they were in Oakland or not when he left. And everybody thought Randy Moss was washed when he got to the Raiders. He wasn't doing much of nothing. All of a sudden, he goes to New England with Tom Brady, and all of a sudden they're setting touchdown records. Everybody's like thinking Randy Moss should have retired when he left the Raiders. Like, what is New England getting so excited for over Randy Moss? He did nothing with the Raiders. He's washed. He's done. So in that aspect, I think not that I'm comparing Zeke to Randy Moss, but
Yeah,
the
because
mentality
I started
the
rising up in
men,
my chair a
the
little bit.
mentality. When you go to an environment, you're backing down. You're back on a big stage now. Things are a little bit different now in this environment. He's back with Dak. He, you're not gonna tell me that Mac Jones was lighting the fire and they were getting excited and had the stuff, the chemistry and just the bond that he had with Dak. I think just on that alone could bring about a little bit of a difference in Zeke. Not that he's going to come out here, I can't guarantee he's going to run 1,000 yards. I know you said it's probably not going to happen. And we would probably not want that to happen, to be honest, because that means that's going to take a lot of carries, a lot of wear and tear on this guy that's 28, 29 years old. But I see that he could provide a spark here and there. One thing I've been looking at what he brought is the short yardage thing. We struggle in that area. Even if he can just do that, not the first downs, the red zone carries, but what I think has not been looked at most, if you go back, Zeke's been very good at catching passes out of the backfield. Pollard, at times, I thought he left a lot on the field when it came to like screen plays, and sometimes it looked like they didn't even utilize him in that capacity much. But it's like Zeke has a knack for being able to drift out and picking up soft yardage when it comes to like little dump off passes and things like that. And Dak knows to look for him because he has confidence that he's going to make that play. It is just amazing, astounding how many first downs Zeke picked up just catching passes out of the backfield that people probably didn't even pay attention to.
Okay, you're listening to Ron, the Starstruck fan here, Ezekiel Elliott, apologist. Um,
It's not gonna be sexy. It's not gonna be sexy. It's not gonna be 2016 Zeke, but it's gonna be some of the little things that we may have not noticed that we were missing from this offense. That's gonna help when guys are downfield. The excuses were, oh, well, the guys they just can't get open. Now you got another guy that knows how to leak out of the backfield and pick up 7, 8, 9 yards off a reception at times.
when was the last time this happened with Zeke? It definitely wasn't the last season he was with us.
Actually, he did.
Really?
he drifted and got a good bit of little
How
catches here and there. He
how
had a
often was
couple of
this?
touchdowns, I think, receiving in that final season with us.
Okay. Again, you're listening to Ron, aka the Starstruck fan, Ezekiel Elliott, sympathizer. Um, I've always wanted to do that on the show. Well, thank you for Ron for giving me this opportunity. Um, no, to me, and again, it's not that I love Ezekiel Elliott. I got
Yeah.
the guy's jersey. I'm a fan. I remember the memories and the good times. I remember the hurdle. I remember jumping into, the Salvation Army can. I remember all these plays. I remember the game against the Steelers. I remember all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
But I just don't. Those days have been over.
He was still jumping in the kettle his final season with us.
Yeah, but the kettle.
from
I mean,
from one after 1 yard touchdown.
oh man, I just don't. And like I get it, the fans are. I just fear that our fan base is just so wrapped up into just. I mean, these are the same people are excited about Zeke. Now you might be different. I know you're different, but I know you're different when I make this when I'm getting ready to say what I'm getting ready to say. There are fans that think Des Bryant could suit up and come play for the Cowboys tomorrow and be the same player he
Yes.
was.
Yes, they are.
So
And I
explain.
am not one of them.
So explain to me what's the difference between you with your statement and Zeke, and some fans are like saying, "Let's get he's hungry, he needs to eat," and the same type of fans going to say that Des could come back and score touchdowns tomorrow. What's the
Dez
difference?
hasn't been Dez hasn't been in the league in how many years? And he's about 34.
I couldn't
And
even
he
tell
came
you.
off of an ACL injury, I think, the last time. Not that that's probably not healed, but I'd be surprised that he's got the same explosiveness. Zeke hasn't had any major injuries. He's only
True.
28, and he's definitely not been out the league as long as Dez Bryant.
He's 28. I thought he was 29.
He may be 29 now.
Well, I
I
mean,
have to check the
it
date.
ain't no different.
Yeah,
You say
yeah.
you
If
say
he's
tomato.
28, he'll be 29 this year,
Yeah,
most likely.
yeah. You say tomato. I say Nintendo. It's basically
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah, I think he's
So,
gonna be 29 in July. Yeah, he's 28 right now. He'll be 29 July. So yeah, he'll be 29 before the season starts.
what do you think? Okay. Paint a picture for me. Acceptable numbers for Zeke to make it worth it this season.
Acceptable numbers for Zeke. If they could look similar to what we had, probably a little less. Um, it'd probably have to be close to his 2022 season. He had about 800 yards.
But he got let go off those numbers.
Yes, that was because we owed him 10.9 mil had we kept him. I think a lot of people forget that. Yes, we still had to pay him, but he was due 10.9, which is why he got cut. And remember that 10 went to Pollard. So he didn't
Yeah,
he was due a lot more than what a lot of people think. Remember, he was let go because he was due 10.9 mil that season. So we evaded the 10.9 and we still had to pay an additional whatever else was still left on the table, but 10.9 of it we were able to avoid that season. So when people wonder, well, why do we cut him in the first place? If you remember, 10.9 was saved and it was rolled over to Tony Pollard for a franchise tag, if I remember correct.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's 10 million for his franchise. How many? Okay, so again, how many yards you think he's going to get this year, and how many touchdowns? And well, and what would
Hmm.
be worth it? Or no, actually, just go ahead and let me know what you think. What do you think this man is going to do?
Well, he had about 600 for the Patriots, and that
Yes.
was and that was basically thought of to be abysmal. So if
No,
he
that
can
was some
get
that was some that was
600,
some that was some Dusty Rhodes hard time trying to get them yards and
so
stuff in New
so
England.
exactly like I said, and he
Yeah.
was not around an offense that has CD Lamb, you know, Dak Prescott at quarterback. We've got a tight end. We've got Brandon Cooks. He didn't have all this stuff that defenses have to be concerned about that starts coming off of that line of scrimmage, that starts opening up stuff for your run game. And so that's what a lot of people have to look into. In New England, there was no threat like that. Everybody can get manned up, and that was pretty much it. You put pressure on Mac Jones. There was not much scrambling coming out of him. No threat whatsoever. So it was a totally different offense that he operated in New England. So now you bring him back to Dallas. He's got the relationship, the chemistry with Dak. They are on the same page. Even if a play is called in the huddle, they can kind of know, hey, remember how this goes, right? He can find Zeke on dump off passes. Zeke every now and then. I don't know what his pass protection is looking like now these days, but to be blocking for Mac Jones and be blocking for your brother Dak Prescott might be a little different.
Yeah,
you
well, it
know,
probably
so
is.
so
Yeah.
I think that's what people aren't taking into consideration is that he's back in Dallas now. Things are different. He's been here before, unlike people that come here and lack, excuse the term, but get a little bit starstruck when they come here to Dallas and they don't perform or whatever. Zeke's been a part of this. He knows what it is to play in front of these fans, to put on a show before these fans and what
Yeah,
these the
and
fan
he's
is
won
looking for.
he's won games and he knows
Yeah,
what it takes to win in that
yeah,
Dallas Cowboy
yeah,
jersey.
yeah.
Much like a player named Alvin Harper 10 billion years ago. I know, but he went to Tampa Bay. He didn't quite get the things rolling. I think he went to the Redskins, I believe, and then he came back to
Yeah,
Dallas. How did that work out
yeah,
for him? How did that work
yeah.
out for Alvin Harper?
Little different. It was a little different when uh, Alvin Harper was put in some good situations when he was a lot younger. it,
Well,
it was totally different dynamics on that Dallas Cowboys team than when he came back. There was a lot of struggles when he came back for that second stint. I don't even remember if Irvin was still there when he came back the second time. He may have still been there, or if it was Rocket Ishmael. But
maybe.
But yeah, totally different circumstance. I know a lot of players have shifted out, but you still got some of the same people, and you got Zeke back in the locker room. I mean, I just think it's going to be a little different now that you have Zeke back in
But
the
just
locker room, just from a
but
playing standpoint,
but
fun
but
again
doesn't
type of
it
football.
but doesn't it seem a little pie in the sky to you still? So you're gonna tell me Zeke's just gonna walk back in here in the locker room? Hey, remember when so and so went and won the Bourbon Bowl, and everybody's gonna cheer and they're gonna get excited and win? Is that gonna happen?
I
And
think what
are
happens,
we gonna get Bobby Boucher, and this is just gonna turn into a beautiful story?
I think what happens when you got Zeke back in there now, what people need to focus on again, sometimes it's not always what he will do, but the things that he may not be able to do anymore. Um, Zeke comes in that locker room now. You got a lot of young running backs. For one, Zeke's in here now. A lot of guys not going to be wanting to be showed up by Ezekiel Elliott. So I think it brings a little bit more competition into the locker room now that you got Ezekiel. Even if he doesn't have what he had from 2016, the fact that this Ezekiel Elliott is now walking in, you know what this guy has done, and you know what some of the fan bases are expecting of him or hoping from him. I think that's going to turn up the depth chart a little bit because nobody's going to want to be showed up by this guy.
Yeah, but then again, you're talking the mold of a player from the 80s or 90s. Some of these players might just be happy to be here. They don't
Maybe
care if you know
I
what I
don't know.
mean. I mean,
I don't know.
you're talking based off of how you would be, or how I would be, or how somebody from our generation would be.
I
It'd be
don't
like,
know.
oh, they're bringing them back. Oh, hell no, we're gonna show him. That's us. This new generation. No, I don't know. I don't know if it would be like that. It's too hard to say.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
You're
it's
right. I don't
it's
know,
really hard
but
to say because what you're
we
saying in that regard does make 100% sense. But that's our generation that would be like that. It's not these. It's not these young kids right now.
I don't know. We don't know what we have, and that's the thing. We don't know what we have on this roster. But I do know since he has came back, um, we've got somebody talking that I don't think I've really ever heard anything out of it. That was Dowdle. Regal Dowdle made a post the other day. Was like,
Yeah.
it's me versus me, type of stuff. I don't know if that would have happened had somebody like Tony Pollard stuck around or some other guy that came in there with just another depth guy, but to me, just hearing something as subtle as that is like, okay, he gets it. Zeke's there. A lot of people are thinking, okay, Zeke's got a good shot at this RB win him. None of these other guys step up. And I just think it's going to make these guys run a little bit. I think these guys are really running soft last year, to be honest. There was some games.
I
Malik
mean,
Davis,
outside.
yeah,
I mean, Davis had some
yeah,
nice runs here and there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Donald did too. I mean, they
yeah.
both
They
ran. They
they
both ran
did.
angry in spots.
But I think they will run even harder now because of the style that Zeke has been known for, and at times still shows flashes of.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think Pollard was ever 100% healthy. When he was healthy, it got towards the end of the season. Because there's some things that you look back on tape, you're like,
Yeah,
why is he running in this direction where it's like right there?
I think he was healthy. I believe he was healthy,
The
but
whole
there is a
season.
mental thing. There's a mental
Yeah,
to it.
with that type of injury, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So mentally, I think he was healthy. It's just mentally, it's just something in me having an injury like that, torn ACL, had to get over before. It's mental. It is very mental. It's like you're back to normal, because strength and conditioning makes that happen. Because I
Hmm.
went through strength and conditioning, got everything back, but it was just a mental that if I make this move or even a move that is similar to how you got hurt, you're thinking of this guy puts his hand on me again, will I fall and have the same injury again? So
Yeah.
you're trying to avoid certain contacts that you think could bring about the same demise that happened previously.
No, that makes 100% sense. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's just like again, I want this to work. I want
Yeah.
Zeke to be successful, but I can't. I mean, this is just reality. I mean, this isn't Rocky. This isn't a guy I mean, I want it to be that great story. I want him to come back and rush for over 1,000 yards, and all of a sudden, he's whatever hump, maybe it's a mental hump or something. He said he just
Yeah.
got over the hump, and it's just I want that to happen. But
I mean, he
I
showed
mean, but
flashes at New England with the he showed flashes. He
oh,
showed
I
that
thought
he
you were
could
gonna say,
run.
I thought you were gonna say he showed flashes in this little workout video he did with the.
No, no, no. He showed
I'm like,
flashes of being able to pick the right holes and be able to slip through for yardage and stuff. I mean, 600 something yards based upon what we thought he left. I thought that was pretty decent for him because a lot of people probably thought he should have probably only had about 300. But the fact that he gained 600, and he was for a large part, if I'm not mistaken, was in a reserve role until about down the stretch is when they started to elevate him more so into the RB1 position in New England. But for the most part, he started off as a depth guy, kind of coming in, sparing whoever the starter was.
do you wish that that the organization just would have made the phone call to Derrick Henry?
I do, but I've
Okay.
got something for that also.
Okay. All right.
Not that I have all the answers.
Yeah.
I'll give
Well, I
I
mean,
give a response,
go
and
ahead.
and they may not mean nothing.
Well, but that's the thing about this because I mean,
Yeah.
we try on this program, we try to just have a casual conversation about the team that we
Yes.
love,
Yes.
and you know what, there is no right answers, but there are
Yes.
opinions, and and you might not share the same opinion, which is
Yes.
fine, but you might get a little different information that might change what your perspective might be,
I
whoever's
tell you,
listening or whatever. So
I
go
tell
ahead.
you, I tell you right now, when it comes to Derrick Henry, I would
Mhm.
have loved to have had Derrick Henry on this roster. I really would have. But I'll tell you this:
But
have we got?
their yard average between them and
Yeah,
between the two is about the same, right? Slightly under 4 yards the
it's
last
pretty
season.
pretty decent, pretty probably about the same.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about Derrick Henry, I would have loved to have had him on this roster. Unfortunately, though, I can't say unfortunately because I can't predict the future. Don't know what could happen.
Hmm.
But if Derrick Henry was to come and play for this team, and had he got injured, I'm telling you, the countenance of the team, the countenance of the fan base would have been a lot different than if Zeke gets hurt right now. Everybody be thinking, well, we don't think Zeke was going to do much for the team anyway. But you bring in somebody like Derrick Henry, he needs to complete 17 games
Yeah.
and into the postseason. But if he, for whatever reason, gets injured, like I like to bring up my Amari Cooper, of course. If he
Never,
missed games,
never
he
heard,
missed games.
never heard of her. Go
If
ahead.
Amari Cooper, like Amari Cooper, was missing games, which I think he only missed for the COVID, was never really for injury. He played through a lot of injuries, but if Derrick Henry missed games, which I believe he had missed some last season, if he missed games or God forbid even got injured, went on IR, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we've got Derrick Henry, blah blah. If something happens to Zeke, we're back to where we were depending on potentially these depth guys and maybe going back into free agent and get another guy. At least the team, to me, mentally, there's not as much of a sink. If you were bringing in Derrick Henry, who you're expecting is going to get a lot of carries a game, going to get over 1,000 yards, and probably be the bell cow to get this team into the postseason and probably
You
a
know,
deeper run.
and and quite honestly, we've been we kind of been at this point too, having like that bigger named running back potentially washed up. For example, Eddie George. Eddie
Yeah,
George came in and ended up not doing a whole lot of anything here.
yeah.
So I mean, he could end up being another Eddie George. Who knows?
Yeah, but Derrick Henry did have over 4 yards of carry, so he was doing a little bit more. Had
Okay.
12 touchdowns in
Yeah.
2023, so he still was showing that he was still had it going on. So it would have been a little different, but the team would have relied on him, or had they not, there could have been a lot of talks. If you brought Derrick Henry in and you're not giving him a lot of carries,
Hmm.
I don't know. He may have said in the beginning he's fine with that, but if the team had somehow got into a losing spell and it starts like, well, they got Derrick Henry, why aren't they giving him the ball? You're
Hmm.
not going to have those kind of conversations with Ezekiel Elliott. Well, why aren't
Yeah.
they giving the ball to Zeke more?
Hmm.
You know,
No, I'm
I
just
think it
real. I'm
changes that.
just. I mean, with that whole thing, it goes back. Well, I guess it just goes back to the all-in statement, which is a dead. I mean, it's a dead horse. I realize it. I
Yeah,
know that,
yeah,
but I mean, they didn't even call the guy. And I
yeah.
think that's the
Nope.
most discouraging thing out of the whole
Yeah,
thing. I would have
yeah,
rather had to make a call and be told hell no, or make an offer, and if it wasn't
yeah,
correct or
yeah.
whatever,
Out
then
of his
nothing.
price range or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think that's what set us up and got us into this
yeah,
mood with our organization.
yeah,
Well, I mean, we've always had thoughts about Jerry just doing
yeah,
stupid stuff. I mean, that's never
yeah.
going to change. But
Yeah, it's
I think it
reason
really,
102 of why
yeah. I
we
mean, it
should have a
really,
different GM.
yep, it really impacted our off season and our thoughts this year.
Yeah,
Especially after taking the beating that we got from the Packers in the playoffs.
yeah. And we've seen this before, and we've been failed time and time again. We had the same talks after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, where Jerry was taking it so personal, and he was like, he said almost made a similar statement to the All In statement that they're gonna go back and whatever. He was so fired up for the fact that Philly won, and even with their backup quarterback,
Yeah,
that he's gonna make sure that the team has plenty of depth next year and guys in case a guy goes down. That won't be an excuse. For the next season, and here we are, several seasons later, and we still have not gotten any further. So,
yeah. Didn't their quarterback that won that Super Bowl for Philly doesn't he have a statue there now?
yeah, Nick Foles,
Yeah, Nick Foles.
yeah,
Yeah, he got the statue.
yeah.
That's a side topic we should have sometime. Why isn't there no Troy Aikman statue or Emmett Smith statue or Michael Irvin statue outside of our stadium? But everybody else seems to get statues. Have you ever thought about that?
If you're gonna put a statue up, Troy,
Yeah.
You need to put all three up at the same time. The
Oh, I
triples.
agree. Oh, I agree.
So you're right. I don't know. That's a very good question. Very good question.
Wouldn't that be amazing? A statue with them three jokers just all up there, man. Wouldn't that just be great? You know,
I'll tell you what make it even one better. If you put them up there and you put Jimmy,
ooh, man.
those
The,
three
if
guys
the
standing around Jimmy.
Yep, and then I don't even know who was standing around him when he first said, "How about them Cowboys when they won the Super Bowl or whatever." But just even having that in a
Yeah,
statuized or whatever that moment,
yeah.
man.
Jerry and Jimmy standing together.
Yep, just anything. I
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know. We only got one, and they're probably the next one we'll probably see erected will probably be Jerry.
is that going to be a statue? Or actually, is that going to just be a corpse in a casket? Which one?
I don't know.
I mean, because that I don't know. This, I mean, the franchise. I mean, it's like I love the Cowboys until the day I die, man. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, there's no. I'm too invested in this thing now, where it's just a horrible relationship. I'm just gonna just deal with it, for the rest of my the rest of my breaths that I have on this earth. It
yeah,
ain't no point trying to find something new now.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, so anything else you got stuff pertaining to the Cowboys this evening?
I don't know.
Um,
We did talk a little bit about the draft. I didn't
mhm.
know if you wanted to go deep. I mean, really, with the guys we have, the one that just sticks out the most. Of course, there's a lot of conversation centered around some of the other guys, but Cooper Beebe is
Yeah,
drawing a lot of attention right now as the teams prepare for camp here shortly.
yeah. To me, he's a day. I think he's definitely going to be day one. I think he's going to be
Yes,
what we expect him to be. To me, it's a wonder because he was a third round pick, correct? I
yes.
mean, so why did he drop down that far? Was there any type of reasoning to that,
I'm
or
not
or
sure.
is it just one of them things?
Yeah, I would have to go back and see what would have been the reason why he had fallen down into that third round. Um, I don't know. I didn't recall that there was any type of injury going on with him, but yeah, for him to fall into that third round with it, with the I don't know, maybe it's just the guys ahead of him
Hmm.
for whatever reason. Yeah, because we got Guyton in the first, so.
Yeah, which Guyton, I don't have much to say. But the guy, I mean, he's physically a damn monster.
Mhm.
I do like the size and everything. I mean, you can't really say much. I can't complain about the pick because I would be doing the same damn thing I did last year with the Tyler Smith pick. Because isn't it like kind of like the same conversation? So
Yeah,
which it also makes you think, um, as a Cowboys organization or as a Jerry or a Steven, they're thinking like, are they doing that? Well, lightning struck once with Tyler. Can lightning strike again? Or do they really got something that makes this guy think that this guy can go?
yeah, yeah. They really said this guy has has similar traits. He's mean street, strong type of guy, and they just believe that. Yeah, they really believe that this guy can get out here and do it. Of course, we just hope that because I think he's had some penalty issues and things like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That we're able to you know get him beside Tyler and get Zach out there to talk to these guys, man. I mean, Zach, man, having a guy like that on the line, man, is it's got to be an absolute blessing.
Yeah.
This guy, what, one or two penalties in the last how many years?
Yeah, it's been a while, and I think, I mean, and well, we've talked with other people on the show. I think we all agree. So, what's your thoughts on Zach? You think it's going to be his final year?
I don't know.
Yeah. See,
I don't know.
I think this is his.
Zach,
I think this is his. The tour. I don't think he's coming
Zach
back after
is
this year.
he's well, yeah. I don't know if he'll be back with us, but I don't know if he's done. Is
So, see, I don't think he's the type of guy to play for anybody else.
really.
Yeah, I don't think he is. But then again, I thought the same thing about Tyron.
Yeah,
Too.
that's what
But
I was
look
wondering
how
because
that
I
ended.
was waiting on you to finish because I was like,
Yeah.
did you think Tyra was going to go somewhere else as well?
But see,
Because to me, Zach still has a lot.
the
Zach
problem
still
is
has a
like
lot left to me.
true, but what the problem with like Tyron and the Zach is like these guys have been with this team for a long damn time. These guys are still young,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
young. Like like compared to like a football player.
yeah.
God, I mean, they're just young still. They got like a whole life to live after this.
They say you put Zach on the right line, on the right team outside of the Cowboys, and he could be the piece that is needed um, for a team that's looking to add something to the run game or pass protection. So I don't know if he's done from here. I don't even want to really entertain it, to be honest, but
Yeah.
because he's to me he's still definitely one of those guys that's still playing at a high level and could be a guy that plays as long as he feels that he wants to.
Do you think we've done enough on the defensive side of the ball in the offseason for us to kind of correct and right the wrongs from last year? I mean, we do have I mean, we got Bland and stuff. It'll be his first season starting, probably, with a Diggs, healthy Diggs is going to be back. We got Overshown. A lot of people are talking about him. I'm still tapping the brakes on that because it still was preseason. You know, what's your thoughts on that? You think because we did do a linebacker pickup and we did do an edge rusher. Um, but see that Mozzie pick from the year before, that's the thing that hurts probably the most. I mean, I think they're going to really be relying on his guy to put the defensive tackle weight on that he's supposed to have. He's lost considerable amount of weight,
Yeah,
and two, just get out there and just be ready. I mean,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
key component right there,
yeah,
probably.
yeah. Hopefully he gets it that somebody's been working with him. He had that 1 year, and you just don't quite know what was going on there and what was the thought behind how they were trying to use him and why the weight was lost and all that sorts of stuff. But hopefully now that he gets where he needs to as far as size wise and he can get back. I mean, we can't it's hard to compare college to the NFL, but
Yeah,
hopefully with the NFL level coaching that they can bring out. We've got Zimmer out here, bringing his guys in
you
that'll
think
be
that's
able to
really
turn this into something else.
you think
Mhm.
Zimmer's really going to help in that regard? I mean, I can't even remember what Zimmer did when he was here. I thought our defense was pretty good though. I just
It
can't
was pretty,
remember.
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
remember too much about it, like offhand. But I mean, it has to be better than what we were wheeling out last year.
yeah. It was a pretty decent defense. I think still when he was here, we were still having issues with the safety position.
Yeah. Well,
We had,
that was a
yeah,
10-year problem though. So
yeah, yeah. So,
so
but I
it's a
mean, he
problem.
was
The
here.
problem
He was
still
he was
exists
supposed to
technically.
be he was supposed to be addressing that. So I'm not sure what was going on, but I can say that was not a problem for him when he was in Minnesota. He had some safeties, some solid safeties while he was with Minnesota. And when I know we had was it Everson Griffin, I think, came through with us. And so Minnesota's had some guys on their lines that hopefully he can get that defense, that line to be as stout as what Minnesota had. Minnesota had some guys, they had some linebackers, DL. So if hopefully he can get it looking pretty close, if not better than what they had in Minnesota. One thing Minnesota pretty had during his time was a pretty stout defense.
Okay, got another question for you. Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt. What do you think the difference is between the two? And I think I already know what you're going to say. What the difference is. So go ahead and answer that question first, because there's like a two-part question.
One part is size, another part is position, and a third part is focus. I think those are the three. Uh,
and I agree.
Focus, size, and position. Because Watt plays, if I'm not mistaken, out of a 3-4.
Mhm.
So his look is a little bit different from what Micah sees coming out of that position where he can drift, he can come off that edge. And I know
Yeah,
we bring Micah up, so a little different. Uh-huh.
but do you ever worry about like what a level, like with a TJ Watt, the level of what he can see compared to a Micah Parsons? Because I've put out there that maybe that's all that Micah really has is athleticism. Maybe he's just not. Maybe his football IQ is not up there where we want it to be, or he's not taking it serious enough for it to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of him not having the capacity to learn. but does he really want to learn?
Yeah, I think he wants to learn. It's just his focus is just a little different from where TJ Watt is right now. TJ Watt is, and it could be the mentality. The Steelers have always been known to have a menacing defense ever since going back as long as I can remember. 80s, 70s, whatever, Steel
Yeah.
Curtain, and so I don't know if we've had that really nastiness to where, when guys come here, it's like defensive teams like the Baltimore Ravens, like, they're going to pick up defensive guys that are going to be solid. And I don't know when Micah got here, I know we had uh, you know, with Quinn, and I don't know if that was just the same mentality of that. Hey, when you come in here, you're gonna play football, you're gonna play defense. If there's nothing you're gonna do, anything else you're gonna do, whatever, you're gonna play defense. And I don't know with TJ Watt going to Pittsburgh if that helped him to take him up a level too, and competition with his brother. Like, hey, my
Hmm.
brother's out there doing what he's doing. I don't want to be out here doing less than what he's doing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know. I just feel
Because who's
I,
Micah's direct competition of who you feel that he would be competing? Like, no, if he's getting a sack, I'm getting a sack.
God,
Demarcus Lawrence?
yeah, that's 5 sacks for you. I mean, and it's not a knock on it's
Yeah.
not a knock on DeMarcus Lawrence for me because I'll take his 5 sacks because he's one of those to me. He's still one of
Yeah.
those players. He's
Yeah, he's
still
doing some other stuff.
yeah, he's doing
It,
other
it'd be nice
things.
to get at least 10 out of him, but
Yeah,
I know he's doing some other stuff.
no,
But
those
it'd
yeah
be
those
nice
days
to get.
yeah those days
Yeah.
are far those days are far gone.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. I'm happy I've sold the. It's not always a sack. It's sometimes it's just getting close enough. It's good enough these days. So I'm glad I sold that to you. It took me like 15 seasons to do it, but I'm glad.
I don't know. I, I
it's a
see.
thing, man. It's a
It
thing.
is. It is. I can definitely see that it is a thing, but I still think sacks are better.
Oh, I'll take the sacks
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
some of them pressures, man. I mean,
Because a good quarterback can still get a ball off with pressure in his face.
true.
So that's why I still feel a hit is a little bit better than just getting close and putting pressure. You want that quarterback to feel that, hey, yeah, that's what it feels like if I'm getting to you. So just know if you hear my steps coming. But yeah, pressures, I understand. And I seen it. I saw those games, but it was mostly against quarterbacks that can't handle pressure.
True.
And a lot of the good ones in the league can. They can endure the pressure. They can play through it. And they'll find guys.
Okay, well, we haven't talked to you specifically about this because since you were away, but we have brought this up on the show. Um, Trey Lance is you think with just some of the verbiage alone of the Cowboys, I'm sure a lot of things you didn't hear, you got back, and kind of got a chance to get caught back up on some
Yeah.
things. Doesn't it seem like verbiage wise, it seems like the ownership is kind of like trying to set things up to have Dak fail almost?
If they are, they're not doing a very good job.
You don't think so? Because I mean, why are you talking about Trey Lance? I mean, oh, he's doing a great job, blah blah blah. It's just I don't know. It just seems like some of the things they say are just kind of just odd.
Yeah, they're saying that, but then they turn right around. They decline this guy's 5th-year option right
True.
at the same time. So if you are trying to bring this guy back and you are potentially thinking of him to be the future, you know, hopefully you're working on something, somewhat kind of way to convince this guy to take less than what he would have gotten, had you given him his 5th-year option.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping that the team has something in the works where they work some side sort of deal. If I don't know what Cooper Rush is going to look like in camp, if Cooper Rush comes out here and beat this guy out, if they start trying to work a trade at some point, during the season, um, to a team that needs a quarterback,
Hmm.
either depth wise, I don't know, starter, I don't know what he's capable of right now to be thrown into starting, but a team that needs some depth behind a veteran that they picked up because their starting quarterback got injured,
Hmm.
that we could probably deal and get something in return. Because I just don't see right now. You know, I said, God forbid, hopefully Dak is able to stay behind that center and play. I just don't see how anything else could be long term could come out of Trey Lance.
Which goes back to the point. It would have been nice to have that fourth round pick in the draft. It
But
really
they
would have been
overcame
nice.
that by getting that third.
True.
To me, I they overcame that. They washed that when they got the extra third,
Yeah.
which I thought was done because they was like, we want to still be in position to grab a running back, which they claimed they were. That's why it was done. But unfortunately, there was other people still left on the board that they felt they had to grab, and running back to them was not as important.
Yeah. You never know. They could have. Would have been funny if they could have traded back even one more spot, a couple more spots, traded back into the second round, got another pick. They still had like a little. There's still like a little wiggle
Yeah,
room there at those last three
yeah,
picks.
yeah,
But it
yeah,
just wasn't. It wasn't a sexy enough player for someone to want to try and
yeah,
make that move or whatever. So
yeah. But a lot of people are out on Trey Lance, and I don't know. I mean, to me, I think it is going to benefit this guy. I hope it does at least. I don't know what his future is going to be at the Cowboys, but in this league, just for him, is that he's had time to watch what to do and what not to do. And sometimes that benefits a quarterback. I think what has hurt a lot of these young quarterbacks, and I know I've heard a lot of people say, well, look at who's been drafted if you want to consider moving on from Dak. But yeah, a lot of those guys are kind of thrown right into the lineup, which Trey Lance was thrown in the lineup at San Fran. But I think
yeah,
when a quarterback is given time to actually sit behind a talented QB like Dak Prescott, I think that benefits them. We've seen evidence of witnesses of those kind of stuff with your Jordan Loves. I know it's still kind of early with him, but other
hmm
quarterbacks that have had time to sit
oh well,
behind
yeah,
centers.
But Jordan loves the. There's tape on Jordan Love now, and Jordan Love's going to have a hard go of it this upcoming season, and I'm going to
Yeah,
laugh.
yeah,
He's going to
yeah.
have a hard go of it.
But I still think there's something to be said though that for guys that sit behind a solid veteran QB and be able, Romo sitting behind Bledsoe, for the time that he did, I think just seeing
I think a
what
better example. I
guys,
think a better example is Brady
yeah,
behind Bledsoe,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or even Aaron Rodgers behind Favre.
Yeah, but even with Romo, because with Bledsoe, Bledsoe's biggest thing with the Cowboys is that he didn't have any mobility behind that
Nah, God, he
that
was just a
terrible old line.
yeah, he was
So
just
when
a
Romo
statue
came
out
into the
there.
lineup, it was exciting to see him avoiding some of the sacks, and buying time, extending plays. That
Yeah,
was one of the things that excited me about Romo in the beginning is how his ability to extend plays, which we weren't seeing a lot of that. I think who came closest to that probably before him was Quincy Carter.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so he was showing some of that, and I think that's what excited a lot of people about Romo is his ability to extend. So I think him seeing Drew Bledsoe getting nailed a few times is like, hey, when I get out there, I know who can't block. I've watched the guys miss blocks, so I know what I
absolutely.
need to be looking when that ball gets in my hand, where I need to favor, what side of the field I need to favor.
Yeah, God, how long ago was that? Was that like 15 years ago?
Oh man, it's been forever ago. Forever
God,
ago. It was like 2006, I think, when he stepped in there. Oh man.
man, it's been so long.
Too long. Too long. Too
We
long to
haven't
still be sharing out here.
yeah, to be the same. I mean, basically, at the
I,
end of the day, this organization has been the same. The
I would
same.
have never thought in my wildest imagination when I first crossed paths with you, Troy, when you were doing your radio,
Uh-huh.
DJing late nights, had the Michael Jackson going, grooves
Yeah.
going. And I just started up my page around that time as well. That we'd still be here, and we still had not celebrated the Cowboys Super Bowl to this day. I would, if someone had told me that back then, I would have been like, "You out of your mind? There's no way. There's no
man,
way."
man, that time I probably would have cracked open a beer bottle. What you say? Yeah,
Yeah,
but here we are, man. We still
yeah,
we still ain't won nothing.
man, yeah,
Man, all the stuff that happened since then.
Yes,
Man,
yeah, a lot, a
Michael
lot.
Jackson ain't even here no more.
No, no, no,
We ain't even won. Prince is
no.
gone. We ain't won
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing, man. So I don't know. I look at this team here, and a lot of people excited about the draft. I'm okay with the draft. Like I said, I would have loved to got a running back, but it is what it is. Can't reflect on that right now. But
Yeah, it
a
could
lot
have.
of people are feeling the team we have right now could still push for something. I don't know.
It's
Right
hard to
now,
say. It's
my
hard to
early thoughts,
say.
just on paper, and I know we are not making record predictions because this is way too early before
Yeah,
we start doing any of that. But right now, my heart is kind of set on about an 8-win season. And I'll see what camp does to change my mind about that before week 1. But right now, yeah, from what I see right now, with all the changes that we made, I don't know. We shall see how this thing unfolds. And we got a rugged schedule coming up. A
I think.
first
Yeah,
place division schedule that we have
yes,
coming up this season. We're hitting all the number ones across the NFL.
yeah. I mean, I think right now, just looking at, it, I think we could be. I think we could be at around the 50% mark, but there's going to be a pocket of games, like 3 or 4 games, that
Mhm.
it's going to be all about decision
Yeah,
makings, dumb penalties, discipline. That's going to either put us,
yeah,
project us forward or
yeah,
push us back. And I think
yeah,
that's how it's going to play out for the Dallas Cowboys this
yeah.
year,
I'm
at this
hoping.
moment,
I'm
anyways.
just curious to see who's going to be that guy that this season out of nowhere that she's like, man, I didn't see that coming. I just hope that there's going to be somebody like that on this team
I,
that takes this team to another level.
well, I don't think Ferguson's going to take us to another level, but I think in terms of leadership, I think he's going to be one of the people that might be able to get some people pumped up and stuff to want to do something.
And like I said, that's one of those things I feel that Zeke will bring back to this team as well. That you'll have that spark plug. You'll have, Ferg, you'll have Dak. Now you got Zeke, when they're out there on that field, like, let's go. No, Zeke's not gonna take that ball and go 80 yards, perhaps like he's done before. But the fact that you can just have guys like that in the huddle, like, look, let's get this first down. Let's push this ball down the field. This is our drive. Let's get this thing into the end zone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I hope it. It's just hard to see it working
Yeah.
because to me, I've been talking about it all year so far. It just seems like in these situations, you got Steven and Jerry backing up the damn liquor wagon and stuff down there in Mayberry somewhere and stuff. Step
Yeah.
right up, people. Step right
Yeah.
up. We got some more, another
Yeah.
miracle tonic to sell you this week.
Yeah.
That's just what it feels like. It feels like everything's a sale. Everything is just something, just to try and just get like a little bit further, because
Yeah.
you can easily turn the dialogue into this is just pandering to a certain sector of our fan base
Yeah.
that's going to buy into this. I mean, it's a bunch of different ways you could sell this.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't foresee that it could be 1,000-yard season. Like I said, things happen. You get, but I don't know how this old line is going to look. Like I said, you got a lot of weapons on that offense that can open up things for the running game. Um, I said he had 800 something yards the last time he was here, and do
yeah,
I think that from what he did in New England, he wore himself down? I don't think so.
yeah. I just
That may
wonder.
have been,
I just
yeah,
there's still some scheme things they got to do. There's some scheme things they got to do with Turpin, and if Vaughn's going to be here, there's some scheme things they need to do with him too.
yeah,
Get those little guys out in space,
yeah,
where they can get a step or two to do something.
yeah. And our team's really going to respect Zeke and crowd the box? No, I don't think that's going to happen. So even that you have to kind of consider. Even if he can just slip through every now and then, just to keep a drive going, second and six, third and four type of pickup or something. Like we don't probably run the ball on third down anyway. On third and
Yeah,
four, we're probably going to throw 15 yards downfield,
yeah. That's our way.
but
That's our way.
but Martavis Bryant, one thing I wanted to bring up
Oh
here.
Lord.
He's got a number.
Since we're dusting things off, go ahead.
Yeah, he's got a number on the roster. Man, they must really see something. And you know, I brought up just a few minutes ago about I'm just wondering and who that player is going to be to kind of to come out of nowhere, you know, type of stuff. And I see he's got I say he's got a number because I don't think he had a number last year when he was on the team.
Yeah,
I don't
not
think
that
he
I
ever
know
got off
of.
the I don't think he ever got off the practice squad. But he's got
How
a
how
number, number
how,
84.
how old is he?
32.
Okay,
5
receiver.
years NFL experience. So
Hmm.
not any wear and tear, just being out of the league for a bit. So what? Couple of years younger than Dez,
You know the only person
but
who's been
without the injury.
you know the only person that was successful doing anything you could might argue might have been better was Michael Vick.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
Michael Vick, when he was playing for Philadelphia, he was putting them balls. He was putting that ball in some spots, man.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, he became very very accurate compared to what he was with Atlanta.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. What's going to be key with Martell, and then he's a Clemson guy because you know I got our favorite guys out of Clemson.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what's going to be key with this guy is if he does start doing any bit of whatever, can he handle the lights of being in Big D and not revert back to what got him out the league in the first place? So
you would think he was learned his lesson by now, and
yeah,
but you know how that goes also.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you need to let me know like clothes sizes. My sister, she works over at in Clemson.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mentioned it to her before. Yes, let me know some sizes so you could be getting a whole treasure trove of
yeah.
Clemson
Oh my
stuff.
goodness, yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So, but anything else you have about the Cowboys?
No, I think that is it. I think I've got it all out and appreciate you for the opportunity and being able to get caught back up. And always consider it an honor and a pleasure to get on the waves with you there, my friend.
No, I really really appreciate that. And anytime, I mean, this year we're gonna try and get out there a little bit more. And
Yeah,
because I feel like some of these conversations, well, so all the conversations we have about football in general is really, really good. And I just think, especially with this type of season that there's gonna be a lot of twists and turns before the season even starts. Still,
yeah, indeed.
so we'll have to
Indeed.
see. So, you have anything else to say to the people?
Nope. Other than just what do we got? Rookie mini camp is that upon us now? I see some guys throwing around footballs, and I see they're playing baseball. The little annual game that they're doing.
Hmm.
No, I guess next up for us is just going to be see what this NFL schedule looks like, which should be upon us here about a week from today. I'm thinking we'll be
Yeah, I
hearing
think
an
it's something like
advertisement here
that.
soon.
Yeah, I'm thinking
So
it's something like that. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. If anything like nutty happens in the Cowboys organization, we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll
yeah,
just kind of just see the things that are worth talking about. We'll talk about on going up into the season. So,
yeah.
but anyways, on behalf of myself and Ron, aka the Starstruck fan, we wish you guys a wonderful evening. And like always, we have to end the show with "How about them
How
Cowboys?"
about them Cowboys? Run it back.
All in, fingers crossed.